tuned into Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Tune in right now.
Welcome, Fit Clubbers. We are back. I'm your host, Shaka Smith, joined by my lovely co-host from A&E's Fit to Fat to Fit, Fallon Mercedes Brock. What's up, Fallon? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. So as you know, Georgia is open and I have gone out the house. And let me tell you, there are a lot of people out. However, I love how cautious the gyms are, the stores are. For instance, I finally went to the gym. I go to a boutique gym now, so it's a very small gym. I mean, it's not like a big, Planet Fitness or anything like that. And I think there was 3 people at one point in the gym, maybe 2.
Yeah.
So I had it to myself, but there was big signs everywhere. You have to wash. If they see you not sanitizing after, they'll kick you out.
Yeah.
They had every other machine closed off, so you couldn't use it. So it was spaced out. People were wearing masks entering and leaving. So I actually don't feel scared anymore. It's not as bad as I thought it would be.
So were there a lot of people out? Is everyone, is everyone out in full though? Not in places, but on the street? Are you seeing everyone?
Yeah. So I went to the park the other day and there was a lot of people in the park. So you'll see people walking around, getting sunshine. And then the restaurants, instead of eating indoor, if they had patio space, they would have seats like 6 feet apart from each other. All the waiters and waitresses had gloves, masks, sanitizers on the table. So everybody is very conscious and aware of, okay, we're going to open, but we're going to try to be responsible.
Well, I guess the rest of the country, we appreciate you being the experiment, I guess, to some degree. But they say 2 to 3 weeks is when we would see a spike. So we'll see. But we got so much to talk about. We got UFC 249, guys. We got the McCall method with the creator and UFC fighter, Ian McCall. And we'll be talking about the future of sports opening up in general. So let's bring on Ian right now. Excited because UFC 249, first match back.
I know, this is exciting.
Yeah, did you get a chance to watch?
I do watch sometimes. I'll never forget my first, hey, how are you?
You're welcome, man. How you doing?
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Really good. Beautiful day. Got a really good workout in this morning.
Nice. So how have you been dealing with the coronavirus and the quarantine and opening up? How's it been for you and your daughter as well?
Oh, it's been great. We've had a lot of fun. I'm quarantined, or we were quarantined at my girlfriend's house. She's got 4 kids, and there's a backyard. There's 3 even here. The other one lives in Denmark. But yeah, we're just hanging out and bonding and having fun. And I've got my workout stuff. I can get stuff done. Got a beautiful backyard and deck and a pool area, so there's a lot of space. And my daughter, she has like one friend she hangs out with mostly, and there's a few other kids in the neighborhood. So I'm like, yeah, come over, hang out in the pool for 2 days straight, just have fun. But she's already homeschooled. We already work from home, and we were staying here every day anyways.
There's no change.
Yeah, so it's normal.
Yeah, it's super easy.
Yeah.
Are you feeling any anxiety though about things opening up, or it looks like we're opening up a little bit slower here in California, but it's starting to happen?
No, I don't care at all. Whatever. I just think this is kind of a needed thing, and people are, just so ridiculous with all these conspiracy theories and shit. I'm like,
oh man, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't know. And right now I don't care. Like, that'll all come to fruition, or, come to light later, and we'll figure it out, because we have no control over it. And just, we have something in hand that we have to fight. And that's why a big reason why I preach the myco diet is because I'm trying to build your immune systems. You have mushrooms, not the non-psychedelic kind, just the normal kind. It's a good source of protein. They're delicious. They've got trace elements, and for immunity purposes, they have something, or for building that, they have something called polysaccharides and beta glucans. They strengthen your immunity cells, because the coronavirus isn't alive. I don't know if people get that or not. It's just an information cell, like you're going to stick one of those memory sticks in your computer. And it's just trying to put that information in the cell and then compromise the cell and then cell replication and whatnot. But yeah, it's not that's how crazy nature is. This thing, it's not alive, is after. And it's weird.
Yeah, and even with the conspiracy theories, so for me, it's been like everyone is in this together. Like no one, Corona hasn't really helped anybody. You know?
Yeah, we're not fighting China. We're not fighting, Russia. We're fighting a virus. We're fighting Mother Nature. She's trying to kill some of us off. I just think that I'm trying to be. I mean, I hate to say that, but she's thinning the herd.
It feels that way. It certainly feels that way.
So the mushrooms that you're in business with and that you're taking, I guess, tell us. I've heard about like mushrooms that like coffee, that you have it in your coffee. So how do you consume them? How often? And do you feel a difference in your immunity or how you feel?
Oh, incredibly big difference. Obviously, I've been preaching health and wellness for a really long time, most of my career, and then I was able to fix my daughter's juvenile rheumatoid arthritis with food, with diet, and exercise first. That's the first thing you need to do. Yeah. And then it was a high dose of cannabis oil, or Rick Simpson oil, and of course, 6 years ago that wasn't very looked upon in the best way. But I said, "Oh, I don't want you to give my daughter, chemotherapy drugs like methotrexate and painkillers. My 2-year-old daughter."
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's also on the weird side of the coin is getting your 2-year-old super stoned. It's kind of funny, but kind of not. There's just so much involved there that she hasn't ingested THC or anything stronger than CBD in a while. But that's why I own part of a CBD business. Is her.
Yeah. And they finally just approved what is Epidiolex now. They finally first approved CBD pharmaceutical.
Yeah, well, we have at Elixicure, Honest Globe is our company. Myself, my family, my best friends, we all own this. We have a new event center actually in Santa Ana that I'll be at later. And we have the world's first FDA and third-party certified CBD lab and product. My friends and I did it.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. But anyways, that was my long way of saying how I got into health and wellness. So the mushrooms, I ingest them at coffee. I microdose a lot. And a lot of the protocols are a lot less because these are just normal individuals that want to feel a difference. They want to see this slow progression. People like myself have copious amounts of brain damage, amyloid plaque built up in their brain, from subconcussive blows to punching to full concussive blows to me hitting my head snowboarding and waking up a few days later. To me dying of a drug overdose and being in the hospital for a week. Like it was, it wasn't on purpose. It was just messed up. And my brain was really bad when I retired, and I was, my ex-fiance had me on suicide watch. I didn't even know that. I was like, "You thought I was gonna kill myself?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, fine." I thought about it a couple times, but whatever. So I'm on a much more strict protocol. I mean, for 2.5 years, I was on 5 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off. But now it's just whenever I remember to take my vitamins, which is a lot. But so I'll ingest with coffee. I'll ingest my microdoses. I'll have other vitamins, and I'm sure I'm putting more in my system than I need, but I always do that.
But it helps you. It's helpful to you.
Yeah, and then especially being at home this much. I was raised by a chef. My mom was a chef. She was a chef at Robert Mondavi before he passed away, the wine guy. She's amazing, and I was the only son that she taught to cook. And at last, since I went out in the real world and started having a real job, I didn't cook anymore. But now we're stuck at home, and I've got a bunch of people to cook for. I cook so much food, and I love it. It just makes me really, really happy to give people things, like, check it out.
So we got a recipe book coming soon too.
Honestly, yeah. Eventually, I'd love to, and I do something with my mom, and talk about her cooking. But and I'll try and add in the variety, the biggest variety I can. I got some lichen the other day that my buddy sent me that I'm like, wow, this is cool. I don't know I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to and just adding in mycology to every meal that we can when we have mushrooms in the fridge, because they're delicious and they're really, really good for you. So antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral properties. There's a lot of good stuff in them. And I think we're going to look back on this in a few generations, maybe next generation, and we're going to look and be like, wait, we weren't eating these all the time?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Okay. That's how I feel about veganism. I feel like one day people will say, one day I have that hope.
Well, this is the thing of the micro diet. I tell everybody, imagine a big table, vegetables, fruit, meat, nuts, all that good stuff. Yeah. Okay. If you choose to take something off the table, good for you. Don't shit on everyone else for eating that stuff still.
Yeah, of course.
add something beneficial to the plate or the table, or beat it. I don't want to talk to you. Like I like to kill animals and eat them. I'm sorry. I don't want it. Has nothing. I love animals. I also love conservation. Yeah. I love hunting. There's a spiritual process behind it, and then I get to acquire meat for my family that I earned. It's just I don't know, but. Besides the point, just add in mushrooms to your diet, whatever you're eating, because I mean they're more. This is a common fact. They're more closely related to humans than they are to plants. Yeah, and that says something.
So the mushrooms that you're taking, what has been the difference for yourself or people that are buying your products of mushrooms? Like, how are you feeling? How does it affect you?
Well, I work with a company called Life Cycle. It's CYKEL, like the Danish way of selling or saying or writing out cycle. They're based out of Byron Bay, Australia. They have, I mean, there's a lot of good products out there. Stamets, all that stuff, Host Defense. I mean, the coffee stuff, I am working on something, but right now production is, not what happened. Yeah. So I'm talking with a coffee brand just to have something to promote when I'm traveling, when I'm talking, when I'm on my social media, just because we are now consultants in this business. So I've got a game plan for a chocolate company and a coffee company and this, and just there's a million things that we can do, because whether, micro-remediation, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but there's a lot of stuff that we can do in this business. And with supplements, man, these guys at Life Cycle have apparently been guys, apparently they are, because I'm taking them. Giving them to my, the kids and everybody. I even sent a whole box to my ex-wife's house. Like, our daughter, or my daughter, and her sister need to be taking this all the time.
That's awesome.
Her sister's almost big enough for me to take with me.
Yeah. I think we're moving to that next phase of trying to figure out what we can do to keep our immunity high. Right now, we know we have an unfortunate update regarding the coronavirus, that we actually hit 81,000 dead in the United States, 1.3 million infected. The somewhat good news is that, at least in New York, it looks like they are over the curve, and that's where the big hotspots were. Mm-hmm. But we have new little things coming out. So we have now, there might be some a pediatric multi-system inflammatory syndrome that some kids are suffering from as a result. So now we're taking a look at that. And, around the country, we know we had South Dakota, the Native American community in South Dakota was trying to actually keep corona from their community. And so they set up some checkpoints. The governor in South Dakota kind of said, we want to get rid of those checkpoints. And now they're kind of at odds. So we have all this stuff going around the country. And I'm trying to figure out what's the way forward. This is sort of translating to sports, but even in these moments, what's the way forward? We even had in Florida, these guys were protesting to open the gyms early. But, people are hurting. People want things to open up. But how do we move forward responsibly? And at what point is it time? And I feel like, for me, I think it might be a little too early, especially places are still seeing the numbers rise. But what are y'all's approaches or thoughts about that?
Oh, man. The thing is I live with a scientist. Like, in this bed, I wake up every morning and I have this super intellectual next to me that I'm like, I have questions, and we teach health and wellness, and sure, with simple things like my daughter's inflammatory disease, her autoimmune disease. How would corona affect her? And honestly, I think she had it in earlier this year in January. I mean, she's a super athlete. She is this ball of energy. I mean, it went from me kind of being relegated to the fact that I'm not going to have an athlete, but she's extremely intellectual. And now she's just got up for her new wakeboard today for the first time. So I have to think of these other people. It's about me. could slap me in the face with Corona, I think I'll be fine. And it's just the other people that I love that I can't see myself, hurting them. But of course, I want to go to the gym. I want to go to my fight gym. I want to go to Lifetime Fitness, where I used to work, and now I just hang out because it's awesome. And just go see people and be social, because I'm a social butterfly and I like attention. But I think that it's probably too early, and this is what's going to happen. We're going to open things up. It'll probably come back in like the Spanish flu did, like many things do, and it's going to kill off more people. And this is just, and I hate to like people fat shaming or something. You have let your body look like that and feel like that. That's your fault. And I'm sorry if it's, if it's your environment and your the way you were raised and whatnot. But it is your fault. And you put the food in your mouth. That's all it is. And I don't want to be mean, but it's true. And we have to help these people or show them a way how to be healthier, because otherwise you're gonna die. You know what? My brother's getting fat, and I'm like, yo, you're gonna get fucking diabetes, man. What are you doing? You used to be a professional athlete. He could have gone to the Olympics in diving. Like, we got a pretty good genetic lottery in my family, and I'm
you
like,
don't want to waste that.
No, and plus I don't want him to die and get sick. And I'm like, dude, I teach this for a living, and you're not listening to me, But there's only so much you can do for people.
Yeah, it's like, and for me, I don't like to judge people, but the particular protesters that went down to Pinellas County, the fact that they were doing the push-ups and the squats to protest the gym not being open, that's the wrong strategy. I mean, that shows that you can get your workout in.
Why? That's Florida. Florida, man. It's just people are locked up and they're in this crazy state of fear and just stupidity. I mean, fear makes you do dumb shit. And one thing that what a big reason why I promote psychedelics during this time. You can't go on a trip outside, but you can go on a trip in your house. and I can't legally recommend it for anybody. But people are doing it in mass. They're gonna do it. Do it responsibly. Go in with setting intention. Do some integration after. Integration is the most important part of psychedelics. Okay, not the drug. It's not the product itself. But it drops something called the fear response in our brain and our body. So you are able to say things you need to say, hear things you need to hear, pick up on someone's energy, their posture, their everything. Okay, through that dropping of the fear response, we're not afraid anymore. Daily, if you're microdosing, you are in the happiest state ever. And to think that right now, so many people
go to a gym and work out with others and to do classes. And here we see the push-ups. This is part of the demonstration that they have been doing here, buddy. Here outside of the Clearwater Courthouse, doing push-ups here. But as Paul Emerson noted, this is not one of those protests that we've seen where people are staying 6 feet away from each other. Obviously, this group here of maybe 30 to 40 people, they are definitely a lot closer than 6 feet away from one another.
Fear people, they freeze up and they second, triple guess everything. And the first thing that comes to your head, at least I found, it's usually the thing you go with, and you don't ever do this because this is what you're afraid of. The first initial reaction, that's not going to work. And if we can get rid of that fear, if we can do things like, I wake up every morning and sure there's breath work. I say every morning, I just say it a lot. Breath work, meditation. I smile. I get up. I hug my cat. I go down and tell my girlfriend that I love her and that she's beautiful and that a bunch of other weird shit on the radio. But just to create a good flavor of the day. And then of course I go outside with the cat and smoke a joint. But it's just about happiness. It's about this the simple things, and to make the other people around you, especially being locked in a house with people. Why would you be shitty to someone when that's going to in turn make them feel bad? Number one, like that's the first thing that interaction right there. Like, just dude, come on, you live with these people. Then from there, they're going to affect someone else. And the only people they can really affect at this point are other people in your house. Whether that's your other kid or your other roommate or lover, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, you're creating a clusterfuck. And just be happy. I mean, when you're in love, your body produces like way more things like growth hormone.
Serotonin.
You want to get jacked? Yeah, serotonin. Well, we're looking at a serotonin response with psilocybin specific. I mean, psychedelics, LSD, things like that, which I've been getting more into the microdosing of LSD over the last 6 months or so. But with psilocybin, this is my specialty for now, at least. It converts from your body or into your body as psilocybin, psilocin, and then a serotonin. Kind of the molecule looks very similar. It acts the same. It uses the same receptor. It's a mimic sort of thing. So it's not like an SSRI where it's making your body produce a bunch of serotonin, and then you stop taking it, drops off. It's creating a good sustainable source of serotonin, and also when you are on a dose, that mimicking agent, that I got to figure out what that is. I got to explain it better. I got to ask the professor.
No, but when you talk about your fear response being lower, like if you're using it for physical activity, if you're an athlete, are you going to be trying to put on more weight that you shouldn't be maybe putting on, or going for a move you shouldn't try, or how does that decrease in fear response translate?
So that's a big thing. This is my obsession, my real obsession, not the rest of the stuff I love talking about. It's the performance side of it. Because the team of people that are better at dealing with emotional or sexual trauma or this sort of addiction type of stuff, which of course I've gotten over the addiction. I guess I'm lucky where I don't have any sexual trauma really outside of which is just gonna sound, I can't believe I'm saying this, being not abused, but being just a toy for a group of women. At a few times in my life, I don't know how I ended up in those situations, but as a kid, I got really sexual, really weird, and at a very, very young age. So I don't know if that screwed me up or anything. I just whatever. But dealing with my addictions, I have better people in my life to help with that stuff. So I take my clients through a big macrodose, and we deal with trauma and the addictions and stuff like that. Because if I don't fix that, I can't do the rest. This is a process, and I know the benefits of it. If you're gonna trust me and pay me that much money to help you, then please just follow my direction, and we can get there later. You can microdose first and do your own thing. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But to get that essential stuff fixed first, because I don't know if you've heard this, but trauma's stored in the tissue. Okay, and we're all broken children, so we all have a lot of trauma. It's the sex and the abandonment, and all of this shit that just is that I think we're starting to see it change as a whole, because that shit was so rampant for so long. It's wild. But I got off topic, sorry. But
you were saying it's stored in the tissues, trauma.
So trauma stored in the tissue. Then for a fighter to think, oh, I'm a pussy because I got octagon jitters. I'm like, no, you get into a cage every single day with your friends and you fist fight. It's not a big deal. This is just another person you haven't sparred against. There's people that's happening all the time. You can't really hear the crowd. You can't see much. You can hear your coaches, and what it is it's your trauma manifesting itself as something that's shouldn't be going on right now in your life. And so once we get past that, then we can get into microdosing, the performance benefits. That fear response being down is going to let you engage. So you have the flow state, which is the broad term for a lot of stuff that I'll explain. The engagement. You see microaggressions. You have an uptick in sight, sound, and smell, and taste. Your linguistic capabilities go up. And so you analyze everything. And mind you, athletes like to be a little more on the dangerous side, which is a balance, because you get to a point about microdoses from 0.05 to 0.25. And once you get to about 0.2, you're like, oh, I'm feeling this, and that, but athletes like that. It's just this heightening of everything.
Yeah. So when you're saying athletes like it, is this something that athletes should take when they're doing their sport, or is this something like when you're not, in sport mode?
Oh, well, so most people don't know this, but USADA, United States Anti-Doping Agency, working with Jeff Nowitzki, who's the drug testing guy from the liaison between USADA or UFC fighters and USADA. He's like a mentor to me. He's a good friend. And I know that they don't have the capabilities to test for psilocybin. And Jeff's open about it. Like, he talks about it. I mean, we've sat with them. They invite us to fights. We work with a company called Unlimited Sciences, and we have a study that we're building with athletes, with combat athletes and vets, to try and fix their brains through CT, from CTE and TBI, and that's rad. And the UFC just open arms, like, yep, well, just please help us, please give me all your information. They can't publicly fund me because it's a Schedule I substance. They're a US-based company, and the guys at the top were like, no, not going to happen. Yeah. And and Unlimited Sciences, they have relationships with Johns Hopkins. The FDA approved everything we're going to do. It's cool. It's a really, really cool thing we're doing. And for Jeff to know and those people to understand, not only this, so that there's the healing benefit, then you have a protectant benefit. So you're going to fix old trauma and protect from further trauma. Then you're going to have, this capability, because every time we go in there, we're giving and receiving PTSD. That's just how it works. It's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of fun. Okay, but it affects you, and it affects us in a way that our bodies are so in tune to kill each other from a long time ago, like not that long ago actually. With our bare hands, with sticks, whatever. That this is that, I guess, more like maybe a collective trauma that gets brought out of us. That we're just figuring out how to deal with it, and I'm just trying to show they're not going to stop doing it. I don't want them to stop doing it. This is I love this sport. I helped build this sport. I'm trying to fix it. And then more of the performance stuff. You have the fear response again. Will drop the fear response even for breath. So your breath is smooth. Just a good cycle of breath. And then if you add in things like cordyceps mushrooms, you have adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, in them for energy sources. You have vasodilation, things like that. And what I recommend is other things with a good nootropic value, but then also with an anti-inflammation value, which is CBD, turmeric, things like that you can get your body moving really well, because not just the mental efficiency, the cognitive efficiency, the actual kinetic efficiency, your physical efficiency of your body is going to move like silk, and you're not going to be more strong, like just like shooting in steroids or something. But you dude, everything stacks up perfectly. Your posture's aligned, like you can really focus on technique. And I mean, obviously I obsess over things like this, but it works.
I love that the UFC is open to it, and especially for fighters, because they put so much on the line. But the UFC is either a trailblazer, or some people think making mistakes. I don't know. I think, at least in this arena, they are kind of blazing the trail. They recently had UFC 249 and decided to go ahead with it, because the thinking has been, look, if it's going to happen, we need to have a way forward, and we need to kind of tackle these issues as best as we can. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. They were very good. I mean, not very good, but I think they took a lot of precaution. They tested everyone that came in and out. They had a bubble hotel. They set up a hotel. They had the arena that was adjacent to it. Everyone was tested. I think Rogan, Cormier, and Anik were seated 6 feet apart from each other as they commented on the fight. So they took a lot of precautions. Do you think that was enough, Ian? And do you think about other sports? I know Adam Silver wants to open it up. Baseball wants to open it up as well.
I know the UFC. I've known these people since I was a teenager, and before I was already fighting professionally at 18. But I've known them forever. Known Dana forever. He's a madman. He's a psychopath. But it takes that sort of crazy to accomplish these things. And I know, I just know everything in MMA, I guess. All this sort of intricate things. I have access to it because I know people who are there. They test the hell out of everybody. They do everything the right way. They're not going to screw this up. And do I think it's early? We need to give the people something, and he's just able to pull it off where he can make it happen. Society needs something, and there's dangerous stuff every day going on. People are going everywhere totally irresponsibly if you look at how it should be. So I'm cool with it. I think that Of course, I'm biased, but whatever.
Yeah, NBA and MLB have said that for them, if they're going to open up, they want it to be such that if there's a positive test, that they continue throughout the season, so that there's not, one player gets a positive test and we shut down again.
Yeah.
Do you agree with
I think that's fine. I mean, why not? If they're going to let the UFC do it, you have to let them do it. There's no fans.
No, but when you think about basketball, though, so right, you got two teams playing, and then all of a sudden LeBron gets sick.
Yeah.
That really changes the dynamic of the series, especially if it's a championship series. Do we pause everything, or do we say, doesn't matter which player gets sick, we continue moving on?
Yeah, that's that. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I would say just, if someone gets sick, pull them out, quarantine them, and do the responsible thing there. It's just, are people going to, I think people will be responsible. Athletes were strangely responsible about certain things, it's just, most people that reach that height, some are horrible people, but most athletes that get to those sort of heights are great men and women because they've struggled. They've worked their butt off and they appreciate stuff, and even if it was someone like myself who acted like a spoiled brat when I first got famous and whatever, like I was an idiot, but I realized some things. Because it happens, you screw up, sure, you might be an idiot sometimes, but
you grew up.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want to see an NBA Finals though, just the bench playing? I don't know. Like that's what I envision happening, but we'll see.
But I think the NBA, if somebody, like LeBron, I feel like they would be so cautious. They probably wouldn't even have him go to the regular locker room with his team. They would go above and beyond to protect those key players because they know they don't want to move forward in the series without them.
Oh, yeah.
Which will, I honestly think, even create more of a mess. Just clean everything.
Yeah.
Just and don't create this atmosphere where it's like, oh, you can't, that just creates more tension and fear again.
Yeah, so we'll see going forward, but they say 2 to 3 weeks is when you'll see whether or not opening up to any degree is actually going to, change the dynamic. So
I want to go on. I want to go on vacation. I was supposed to be in Bali half of May. With my girlfriend, and we were setting up a retreat. I was going to do it with Carla Esparza and Ashley Evans Smith. Carla's a former world champion. We were going to actually we're sponsored by the Women of Combat, which is cool.
Oh, nice.
They were going to bring out some athletes, and we were going to open it up for people have a couple, maybe a big house or 2 big houses. And then we were going to go have another retreat in Tulum, which of course started as a vacation for my girlfriend's 15-year-old. And then I was like, well, we can get this all for free and make a lot of money if we just stay an extra week and have clients come. And
you're like, hey, let's do it.
Smart.
Cool. Yeah, whatever. It's what we do. So yeah, and I want to my family house in Lake Tahoe is being remodeled. So I'm like, I can't go anywhere. I want to leave.
Yeah, I mean, you might have been trapped in Bali if you'd went earlier, because some people were trapped in Bali, but they were happy the first couple of weeks, and then after a while they got a little like, let me get home.
Yeah, I mean, I would be happy, but I'd be so bummed because I mean, like, my daughter is everything.
Yeah.
I'm so hands-on with her that like I even being there for work for 10 days, I was just like, I was heartbroken by the time I was by the end, I was like, I can't wait to go home.
And I also know that on Mondays you do something with self-care therapy class.
Yes, I had my birthday party on Sunday. We have this beautiful new event space we made at Lake Secure, which we're going to be creating a bunch of content. There's a stage and a DJ booth, and I mean, its sound system's insane. So we're going to be having a bunch of people come out and perform, and just a space it's a marketing and advertising department, so it's pretty cool. So to be able to just create so much, like I'm super excited about it. Like that, there's going to be so much going on. We have our integration circle. We have our new South Orange County Psychedelic Integration Circle on Facebook. Go check it out. It's a private group, but just request it, and I'll let you in. It is a platform that I've built realistically for the professor, because she's smarter than I am. And like she is shit out of my way. She is, she has a lot to share, a lot of help to give these people, and I want to create a community for people, not just one psychedelic circle, because a lot of those are tiny, and I love those. But people always go like, you can't have that. They should be shared for everybody, like woo woo. But then they like hide everything, like they have secrets. I'm like, come on, you can't do that. You're acting silly, like just. So I want to create a space for us to have one big meeting, and then be able to have a men's group, a women's group, a religious group where you want to talk about Jesus. Cool, but get your group and do it. We just want to make sure that we have the right facilitators there, the right people, because safety is and harm prevention is a big deal in this space. People want to negate the danger. Sure, you can go to Coachella and eat way too much mushrooms or acid or whatever it is, and have a transformational experience that is for the better.
Yeah,
you can, and you don't even have to do integration or anything. You don't have setting intention, nothing. You just changes your life for the better. Awesome. I'm so proud. I'm so happy for you. But you can also have a bad time. And out of that bad time, you could learn something that is, you should at least learn something that is very beneficial. But without proper integration after, without being able to integrate those things into your brain, into daily practice, I mean, good luck. It's a precaution that a thing you shouldn't just throw to the wind and go, okay, whatever. At least unless you know what you're doing. If you've done this a bunch of times, okay, knock yourself out. Because again, this group of people, this group of psychedelic users grows by 40% every year. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. And I tell people, look, I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not going to help you get drugs, but people are going to do this regardless. So I want to be able to create a space for them that is safe, and that is, they know that like we're out here and we have the best intentions. I mean, we cover the political side with DCRIM-CA, and we have jobs there. I'm the event coordinator. She's the head director or the head education person. We work, on a activist level. We've got some Native American people we work with. And just activism in general. I'm like one of the main guys with the blue check mark that talks about it so openly.
And what's DCRIM-CA?
A Decriminalized California is the decriminalization effort for all of California. You have Decrim Nature. Decrim Nature did Oakland and Santa Cruz and Denver and Chicago, I do believe. Or Daniel Garcia had a hockey player. We'll get back to how the NHL is handling this later. And we cover all of these different aspects. I'm embarking on a 3-year course, a shaman course, to I'm not trying to be a shaman, okay?
But you're going on the course.
Yeah, because it's about personal growth. I'm trying to grow as a person, and I like these individuals who I'll be working with. I've never taken ayahuasca, and people are like, really? I'm like, yeah, I wanted to for a long time, but I haven't had the call to do it until this year. And now this year I haven't, because I had a bunch of stuff going on. Now this, and, I could obviously still do it during lockdown because I'm going to go hang out with a bunch of monks in the forest. But it's just something I need to get to eventually. And I finally found people that I felt safe and sound to do it with, because I respect this stuff. I mean, so much, and it it means a lot, and I like taking care of myself. I like it's just back to that question you actually asked like 5 minutes ago about the self-care. That's Garrett Day. He's one of my best friends. I'm the godfather to his son. And whether it's a diet, whether it's this sort of mind coaching psychology sort of stuff and neuro linguistic programming ish sort of stuff, or it's physical care, working out, being able to get in deep on your own parts and massage and fix things, because I've had 3 surgeries here, 4 surgeries here. I fractured, dislocated this. I've got bulging discs in my neck and my back. I tore my hip and my groin. I popped both knees. I've had MRSA 4 times.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And guess what? I don't have any, well, not any. I have very little arthritis.
Wow.
And that's because I have a great diet. I take CBD every day, almost every day. Again, I say every day all the time, but it's not true. It's the same when I teach martial arts. Is that you can only do it this way, and then I'm like, but I'm going to teach you later. Once you figure this out, I'm like, yeah. But so you have the CBD, you have whether it's a cream or oral drops or gummies or something that I probably shouldn't be eating gummies, but and I also take about 100 to 200 milligrams of cannabis oil every day, like high strength cannabis oil. But we'll get back to the main part. Is mushrooms microdosing heals your pain receptors, and it has very anti-inflammatory properties, which I need to figure out how to explain what exactly is happening with the inflammatory response of mushrooms. But yeah, I mean they have so many benefits. They're going to make, like they say, oh, CBD heals everything. I'm like, well, that's because if anything wrong goes in your body, there's an inflammation response. And when you take care of inflammation, it heals everything. So I just need to really, so I got to write that down. I got to figure out what sort of chemicals are happening or responses happening in your body with that.
Yeah, but I love those strategies, especially the breath and the self-care. And so that you integrate that a lot with the McCall method.
Yes, I've been training under Casper Van der Meulen or Wim Hof. I guess that's where it started.
Yeah, Wim Hof's amazing. Wow.
For a long time. Yeah, Wim's incredible, and I've never met him. I've talked to him I have a lot of Instagram friends, and I just started getting into it, and then I met Casper, and he's just become a good friend of mine. He is Wim's resident scientist, and I don't know if you noticed, but I have affinity for smart people like scientists and whatnot. I mean, my best friend growing up is now a physics professor at UFC.
Best people to be around.
Yeah, I feel like a chimp sometimes. Like I feel like the feral kid that lived in the trees that the people, like all these intellectuals are now letting in the house. Like, come on, I'm like, me? I can come in the house now. But it's this whole thing with Casper. I'm going over to Holland whenever, I think end of the year. I don't know, to do a psilocybin assisted masterclass in breathwork. So with his method is about getting back to baseline. How it affects your nervous system from parasympathetic to sympathetic, just being able to fluctuate and modulate the whole thing yourself. I'm never about one modality. Never. That's how you get stuck in a hole. That's how you don't evolve if you don't try and learn all of it. And I'm so behind the curve on a lot of this with the people I'm trying to keep up with. It's exhausting. She's a super genius. Like,
it's almost a good feeling because you're always learning. You're always like, hey, information.
Yeah, and I have these like I have these, one of my buddies. He's like very on the spectrum, and he's a doctor, super successful, world famous doctor. And it's so funny to hear that. I got Asperger's, and I was like,
what?
He goes, okay, I'm autistic, and I was like, there you go. But just to sit here and of course these people want to eat psychedelics with me. Yeah, that's they're fascinated by me for whatever reason. But I get to sit with these intellectuals who have trained with Yogi Bhajan and done all these. Stan Groff has held my friend, my business partner, in his arms when he was teaching him breathwork and pulled him over that birthing canal chair that I've sat in.
Wow.
Like I'm my new podcast, which I need to actually come out with it because I have only 2 episodes recorded and I've got some great people lined up. But it's about my personal evolution. Like, this is what I did. I know I wasn't always like this. I've changed a lot. I'm a totally new person. I shouldn't say new person. I'm the same guy. I'm just a better version of myself. And I'm just trying to give people the tools that I use.
And we appreciate you for sitting down with us. This has been an amazing conversation. We got to have a part 2 very soon.
I know. I was thinking
that
too.
They win.
We have a little thing called Fit Club 5, where we're going to ask you 5 rapid fire questions so the viewers get to know you. And Fallon, take it away.
All right. So what is or was your favorite meal right before a fight?
Favorite meal? Yeah, man, I would say, well, I traveled with a chef and nutritionist for most of my career. His name's Eric Trilogy. the morning after for French toast. He would make really healthy French toast. But I would say,
take that.
you know, it would, for me, it was a bunch of starch, a bunch of protein, and vegetables. I like a variety of stuff because I understand that. I mean, I'm really thorough with all this. Obviously, I travel with him, and I know I need to fuel up on a million different levels. It's all about variety.
Yeah. What's the one exercise that you know is good for you, but you hate doing?
Running.
Running.
I never ran my whole career until the last year, maybe when I was in Ryzen. I think was it maybe a little before that. Sorry, but running hurts me. I feel like a tank. You know, I have tiny little limbs. I can't swim. I can't run. So those two things, you know, they're miserable, and I just have this weird water where I'm not. I mean, it's a little water that's barely too cold. I'm like over it, you know. I don't know why. And I grew up on the beach. I don't know.
That's funny. If there's one person that you can go back into the ring and fight or train, who would it be? Any person in the world?
Oh man,
dead or alive.
If I could train Mike Tyson to be an MMA fighter.
Whoa, that would be
crazy.
Because I mean, I cried when Mike lost when I was a little kid. Like, Dad, why? Like, what? I remember it vividly. It broke my heart. And you know, I've met him a few times. He's just an amazing person. He's actually put some really good things in my head about retirement. You know, about how I don't want to be that person anymore. I'm not proud of that guy. I want to be. I'm not him anymore. But to train him, because to also know that, because D'Amato, he manipulated that kid so bad. He, you know, you got this kid who is from such a crazy upbringing, who was built that way and mentally was predisposed to that stuff, and then you hypnotize him.
Yeah.
And you do like there's way more stuff that we don't need to get into, but I'm just like, but then again, I also want to take advantage of that. So what's wrong with me?
I think I know the answer to the next one, but I'm going to let you answer it. What is your ideal form of meditation? Oh,
ideal form. So,
or way you like to calm yourself.
Okay. So, well, this is my, I'll give you my best time to meditate. Okay. Is post large dose, like, you know, 10, 20 grams sort of thing, which a normal big dose is like 3.5. So think if you're pushing 10, 20,
that's a lot.
But again, you know, this is something that professionals do, I guess. Say. But you know, you do the integration. There's, you know, hands off, like don't touch, just get the work done. Because we do couples therapy all the time about it. Just because it's not just about taking psychedelics. Sometimes it's just yoga and that whatnot. But post trip to the next morning, go into a place called Radiant Hot Yoga in Irvine. It's run by a former porn star and her daughters. And it's just this hilarious, very hard sport yoga. I mean, the yoga there is super legit, but it's just this very like bubbly, porny vibe that's just entertaining. You know, and yeah, I'm an attention whore. I like showing off, and I've got my smoke show girlfriend next to me, so I'm just like, yeah, no big deal, doing yoga, such a douchebag. But to get through that whole thing, and then maybe take a microdose of, you know, like a whatever, something else, and then right when that thing is done, right when that class is done, you know, and you're especially if you're doing really good breath work the whole time, you got it locked. You just sit there after, and I can meditate for. I've never been able to compartmentalize the things that I'm dealing with so easily. Because I've got two other people in my head. You know, this guy and this guy, and you know, it's my ego, my super ego, my ed, I think it is, and it's a lot. It's constant. Like every day, I talk to myself, and it's a little mad.
Okay. Could be a good conversation,
right? And last question: what's your favorite guilty pleasure food?
I would say some Rocky Road or something like that. Some sort of everything I do has a twist. Like there's, you know, adding in things, like sprinkling, you know, nuts on top, and a little bit of berries, or, you know, what, like just small things. Like if I'm gonna make French toast, it's very compote. You know, I like making things beautiful and you know, extra good.
The recipe book is coming. It's coming.
Oh yeah, and believe me, and I'll touch on everything from being just like the meals that just, make you question yourself after, to the ones that just make you feel really good.
That's awesome, man. Well,
awesome.
We got to thank you so much for joining us. This is incredible.
Yeah, so good.
Fallon, where can they find you online?
You guys can find me at Fit with Fallon on Instagram or fitwithfallon.com.
And Mr. McCall, where can they find you?
I have the McCall Method on Instagram and my website. Go check it out if you want to book a session. And then also I teach parenting, couples, that mask of masculinity sort of thing we're trying to drop as guys. We can't really act this way anymore, guys. Gotta stop. We gotta treat this fair. It doesn't help any of us. But then also check out Uncle Creepy MMA for all my stuff. Decrim California or decrimca.org and Unlimited Sciences. So much information there. And also go check out Thank You Plant Medicine. It's a movement we're trying to do where people can go on and share their stories. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. And you guys can find me at SHAKA Strong on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. We'll see you guys next week.
On behalf of our BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Check out our Black Hollywood Live YouTube page for even more great programming and amazing content. And be sure to subscribe and like our channel when you do. I'm your BHL host, Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom or at Black Hollywood Live. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.